Mm, There's really nothing like a good smoothie, is there? I mean, a smoothie is kind of like the perfect breakfast, whether you like breakfast or whether you don't like breakfast, because it's quick, it's easy. You can pack all your nutrition that you need for the morning in that smoothie, and you can feel totally virtuous because you put some leafy greens in, like spinach or kale or something like that. So I know smoothies are so popular with people because of those very reasons. And everybody I know has had smoothies for breakfast. I have smoothies for breakfast. But if you think about it, think about the average smoothie and all the fruit that goes in there. They are just full of so much sugar. I did a little quick search, and I'm going to talk about smoothies today and what you can do to replace that fruit. But before I even get there, I forgot to say hi. So hi everybody, I'm Ricky Heller, and I blog at rickyheller.com. I help people who are overwhelmed with dietary restrictions to learn to love their food again and live happily and joyfully in the real world. And that's what this is all about today, talking about smoothies. What happens if you can't have fruit in your smoothie? So let me just go back for a second, and I want to talk about the average smoothie. I did a little search on the internet, and I found just two sort of typical recipes. So the first one had 3 medjool dates for sweetness, natural sweetness, and a half a banana. And the second one had a cup of orange juice and a cup of mango pieces, natural mango pieces. So that's a very common kind of smoothie. They'd be mixed with unsweetened or sweetened almond milk or some other kind of milk. They might be mixed with some leafy greens, some protein powder, and people would drink those and feel great about having something healthy for breakfast. But let me just tell you a little something. A banana contains 14 grams of sugar. A medjool date, each one contains 4.5 grams of sugar. Well, if you scoop a teaspoon of regular cane sugar, it only has 4.2 grams of sugar. So that means 1 medjool date has more natural sugars in it than a teaspoon of actual sugar. It gets worse with the juice and the mango. A cup of mango has 23 grams of sugar, and a cup of orange juice has 21 grams of sugar. So what does that mean? If you have that smoothie with the 3 dates and the half a banana, you are consuming the equivalent of 2 tablespoons of white sugar in your smoothie. If you have a smoothie with a cup of orange juice and a cup of mango, you are consuming, get ready for it, the equivalent of 10 tablespoons of sugar in a smoothie. Holy moly. Nobody should want to drink that much sugar in one smoothie. So that alone is a reason why you may want to cut fruit out of your smoothies, at least sometimes, because you're just consuming too much sugar in one sitting at one time if you're drinking smoothies with lots of sweet fruit. Another reason might be for people like me, if you have dietary restrictions, particularly if you're on an anti-candida diet, which I've been following. I say I'm on maintenance now, but I've been following an anti-candida diet for, close to 15 years now. So when you first start that diet, oftentimes you're not allowed any fruit at all. And the diets vary. Some people allow berries, some allow green apple. But in general, if you're on a strict anti-candida protocol, you will not be allowed fruit at the beginning until your symptoms improve a little bit. So what if you're missing your smoothies? What if you still want to have smoothies? Well, today I want to talk about all the different ways, well, I'll pick my 3 favorite ways, that you can still infuse your smoothie with lovely sweetness and texture, even without that fruit. So I guess the first thing to consider is what purpose does that fruit serve for people so that we can then replace that? And for me, I think of really 2 main factors. The first is obviously the sweetness. So people are using the fruit because it adds sweetness. And if you're following an anti-candida protocol, you can always use stevia, you can always use xylitol, some people use like Canto or monk fruit. There are options to just add sweetness. But I think the second function of the fruits, often people are using them frozen, and they add thickness and they add creaminess to those smoothies. So there are lots of ways we can do that as well. So let me tell you my 3 favorite ways of replacing the fruit and still having a very sweet and creamy smoothie. So the first one is, consider that on the anti-candida diet, you want to make full use of those few fruits you are allowed. And I know I said you're not allowed fruit, But most people, when they think of fruit, they think of things like banana or apples or pineapple. I could go on. But on the anti-candida diet, usually in the first stage, you are permitted lemons and limes, kind of as many as you want, as well as unsweetened cranberries. So what I'll do is I'll mix some fresh unsweetened cranberries into my smoothie, and I'll sweeten it with stevia or xylitol, and it really makes a lovely mix, and it's a gorgeous color. You get this beautiful, brilliant pink color. But the trick that I found is if you add the juice and the zest of half a lime to your cranberries, then somehow that converts this into the flavor of kind of like a generic berry. And you could serve it to other people and they think, oh, is it raspberry? Is it strawberry? It just tastes like berries. So they won't even know there are cranberries in there. And cranberries are incredibly healthful. So that's a great way to have a fruity pink smoothie if you want it to look and kind of taste like something really, really fruity. The second thing that you can do is use one of my favorite foods, which is avocado, because avocados have some natural monounsaturated fats. They're creamy, they're smooth, and they add a beautiful texture to your smoothies too. So this one's not quite ripe. You want to wait until it is ripe, and then you have about an hour to use it before it's too ripe. And if you use avocados, you know what I mean. So you want to make sure it's just right. And then I would use about half in my smoothie, and it adds a beautiful creaminess. Avocado works really, really well with the lime again, or fresh lemon. It works really well with some fresh herbs like mint. And I find avocado goes beautifully with carob or cacao. So you can have almost like a chocolate malted smoothie if you use one of those in addition to the avocado. And that's a second great way to replace the fruit. And then my third that I'm going to talk about today, and one of my absolute favorite ways to provide sweetness and texture to smoothies without fruit, is sweet potatoes. And these are little minis that we got from our organic delivery box. Aren't they just the cutest little things you ever did see? They're just adorable. So I would use maybe 2 of these in my smoothie. Or if you're using a full sweet potato, a medium sweet potato, use about half in your smoothie, and I would peel it. And that's going to give it a delicious sweet flavor as well as texture, because it will make it kind of creamy. Now, I know you might be asking, but Ricky, sweet potatoes, they're so sweet, they're starchy, I was told I shouldn't have them. So again, I think it depends on whose diet you're following. In my book, Living Candida Free, sweet potatoes are allowed right from the beginning, and that is the diet that I followed when I was working with my naturopath years ago. Because if you consider, a sweet potato is actually, it tastes sweet, but it is very low on the glycemic index, and it contains very little natural sugars. So a medium sweet potato, the whole sweet potato only has 4 grams of sugar. And if you're having half, that's 2 grams, which is less than half a teaspoon of sugar, as compared to those 10 tablespoons that you would have with your mango and orange. So I'm not worried about sweet potato. I've never had a reaction to sweet potato when I eat it. Obviously, I can't speak for everybody, but I certainly would try it and see how you do. The other beauty of sweet potato is it's really high fiber. It's got some great minerals and vitamins in it. So overall, it's just a really healthful food. And my trick for making sweet potato work perfectly in a smoothie is I bake it rather than boil it. So if you bake it until it gets really nice and browned, I bake it with the skin on, you're going to have this lovely caramelized interior that's going to enhance the sweetness of it and just make it work that much better for your smoothie. So those are 3 ways that I kind of trick myself with my taste buds to still have delicious sweet smoothies, even without fruit. And even though I can have fruit at this stage of the game, I don't always want to have fruit in my smoothies every time I have a smoothie. So this is a great alternative. As I said, even if you are able to eat fruit, it's a great alternative if you just want something that's sweet and satisfying and doesn't contain all that sugar, because it's really, I do not want to encourage that candida to grow again. So I hope that was useful for you. I'm going to put the link to a smoothie that contains sweet potato. It's called the Smooth Operator Smoothie from my book, Living Candida Free. So you'll get that down below and you can find those links there. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to share it with your family and friends, anybody who you think might benefit from the information, and then subscribe to my channel. I'll put a link up here, and I'll be providing videos like this every couple of weeks. So I hope that was useful. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye.